Hello. How is everybody's day going? Happy Wednesday, y'all. What's up? I'll see all your chats. If anybody who actually comes today, we had a real quiet week last week. A couple people came to keep me company. 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago. I keep forgetting I'm not doing them every week anymore. I said that in the last video. Talking about last week's video. Habits. I built up that habit over kind of a long time, actually. I'm not sure. There it is. Mm-hmm. There we go. That's better. What's up, somebody? How you doing? How's your Wednesday going? What up? What up, Alfalfa? Did you catch the video? It was fun. You know, I'm working on something bigger, and I did not. Hey, what up, cute girl? How you doing? Yeah, what did you think? I was just trying to have, a little fun here in the calm before the storm, right? Mm-mm. This is another one of those moments where I'm kind of waiting to see what's actually going to happen. I just started the vid life. It's been insane, but should be improving soon. Oh, good. It's been kind of a long time coming, right? Good news. Anyways, it's pretty straightforward stuff. Because, like I say, I'm working on something bigger. And I was literally working on it the other night, and I just kept getting interrupted. It's as simple as that. Everybody's been home. Life is good. Still shocked that Runaway Siren is gone. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Shocked is the only word. I shared the crowdfunding thing on my community page, or however much that's going to help. But I don't have any further news on that. I'm just so heartbroken. How awful. She was so young. Hey, thank you. Celebrate their 5th super on a live stream. Oh boy. Thank you, Geek Girl. It's been a doozy of a month, I tell you what. Last couple months, really. I've been so sick. I can't wait for spring. Collecting seeds from my vegetables and stuff and waiting for spring. It's great to hear a voice of sanity here in the U.S. Yeah, thank you. Am I missing something somewhere? I feel like everybody on the left is just sitting around, rubbing their hands together and twiddling their mustaches at how the right are fighting amongst themselves now. It's like, well, I don't know what you expect to happen after you win something. Yeah, that's when you all group together to attain some giant goal. When you get there, then yeah, all of a sudden you're not working so hard anymore, and your differences come to the surface. This is not the first time this kind of thing has happened, and I don't know why everybody is so, oh my gosh. When I feel like nobody in that space is discussing what are we going to do about these guys? You know? And I'm not a freaking political strategist, right? So I really don't have much choice but to. I can't predict what they're going to do. I don't know. Somebody was saying the other day that anybody who thinks they can predict what's going to go on in this current political climate is lying to themselves and to you. I think that's about right. How in the heck anybody thinks they know what's going to happen next? I don't know. So, like I say, I'm really just waiting until Monday, which is also Martin Luther King Day. I thought that was funny. That melty face is great. Love it. Maybe I should turn the light on. Should I turn the light on? I want to turn the light on. Yeah, that's better. You can see me better now. Trella. Waiting for some self-absorbed stunt to happen in relation to MLK Day being on Inauguration Day. Yeah, right? I mean, so what? We don't all... Do people get Inauguration Day off work anyway? I feel like they don't, do they? Normally that day just sort of goes by unmarked. I mean, right? It looks pretty outside. We're supposed to get a couple of warmer days later this week, so. You bet your butt I'm going for a walk. I haven't, but we're basically excused to watch TV network. That's funny. I feel like that's strange too. People taking time out of their workday to watch the inauguration. That's unusual, right? You know, I'm suddenly sitting here wondering for no real reason how old J.D. Vance is. I realize I do not know that. He is 40. Oh, he's less than a year younger than me. Yeah. So he would have been a grade behind me in school. Fun. I mean, yay, millennials finally getting a turn, I guess. Whatever. I have said this before and I'll say it again. Probably 50% of people my age are shitheads. Of one kind or another. 5 years older than you? Oh, wow. That must be weird. No, I mean, what's really weird is when they're younger than you, like significantly. I consider this to be my age. He's literally almost exactly to the day the same age as the guy I dated all through high school. So, he's my age. But, like, it's weird when they're younger than you, right? I'm waiting for that day. That's going to be weird. Oh, his name is James David JD. Like, seriously? Although it's been 20 years since I was Catholic, I feel like I should go to confession. I'm still doing the walk of shame because I couldn't vote for Harris and had to rebuke the Democrats. Oh, I don't know. I mean, you're on your, I cannot openly admit this most places. Oh, that's rough. Do you go a lot of, do you get in these conversations with people a lot in your life? Um, I don't know. So did you just not? I loathed Trump the first time around. I still think he's scum, but Harris was a cool. That's right. Were you the one who was talking about? No, that was, I want to say that was Mecca, talking about how she was going to vote for Trump because she couldn't stand Harris. But you would not be alone in that. Personally, she didn't put me off badly enough to vote for that. But I'm staying with a friend and absolutely cannot admit that I did. Yikes. Well, you know what? Some things are private, and that's okay. It's supposed to be a private ballot anyway, right? Like, don't you like literally have a constitutional right to that kind of privacy or something? And I mean, I guess you can console yourself with the fact that one vote never did that much difference, you know? It's not like you elected him personally, right? But yeah, obviously you don't want to endanger your living situation. Oh my goodness. We all kind of agree around here, but uh, I understand that these things get very contentious. And I guess I lucked out in that way. I don't know. The odd one out is my mom, who lives far away, but my sister, who is not her daughter, is gonna go stay with her, I guess. Um, Suffice it to say, neither of them should really be living alone, and we just don't have room here. But so they're sort of an odd couple pairing in that way, where she's an old conservative, apparently now Christian lady, and my sister is none of those things. And they're not actually related, but they look it. So it's hilarious. It's gonna be hilarious. I'm essentially creating a spin-off of the sitcom in which I live. So stay tuned for updates on that maybe. I don't know. Uh have I mentioned that I live in a sitcom? Because this is really just one of the most clear and obvious like examples of sometimes it feels like that. It really, really does. I should drink my coffee, right? It's a lot more helpful if you actually drink it. So you said things were looking up. Are you going to get your own place, or did you find a job, or? Uh, I don't know. Maybe I should pull out those notes I was working on the other night. We could talk about some of that stuff because it was some. I feel like it was some bigger stuff that I was trying to bring together, and I almost had it. You know. I can find them. Wow. Okay. Oh yeah. Basically driving at the idea that let's see. On the plus side, my smoking is reduced to 80% because I have to go outside. Oh, that's good. Reduced about 80%. That's good. Yeah. Congrats. Oh, a crazy situation at my dad's house is finally coming to an end, and I'll be hiring a moving service soon. Oh, that is nice. Like, I think I'm having vicarious, like, catharsis just at the idea of something like that. Congratulations. Uh, yeah. But so, okay. In terms of the long arc of history, right? Culture. Really, we're talking about the evolution of culture. The Enlightenment is this period that is said to have ended with the Napoleonic Wars at the beginning of the 19th century. And, like, I'm not sure I agree with that because, like, every period after has been totally defined by those materialistic ideas, right? By those Enlightenment ideals of the scientific method and, like, the measurable material world. And, like, we're going to figure this out. And I've also heard it said that, like, since the Enlightenment, the periods of history have gotten shorter. The Industrial Revolution, the electronic revolution, and then the information revolution. They're all small, which sounds like it's speeding up, right? Which really flatters our idea of, like, being at the pinnacle of history just because we're the newest, right? Which is questionable. But so I don't know. I think we've been.
Would you like a cup of hot tea or anything?
No, thank you. I'm sorry, that was too much. I had a friend of 8 years who went psycho, claimed I beat her, and she got a fraudulent order of protection against me and now got me thrown out of my dad's house. Oh, wow. See, I know you've been sort of alluding to things being crazy for a while, and I didn't want to pry. But that does suck. Since you've said all that, do you mind telling us, how did it get resolved? Did you get her out of there, or some sort of eviction order, perhaps? But yeah, as far as the longer arc of, like, cultural development, I think the Enlightenment has, these sort of smaller sub eras, excuse me, just like the medieval period does, every other period has sort of sub periods contained within it, right? And then it has this sort of overarching, like, in the medieval period, I guess you could say Christianity, right, would be the overarching dominant sort of idea. And then the Enlightenment ideal of materialism and the scientific method and all of that has proven itself to be true over and 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 over. I'm talking to you through it right now, right? And I don't mean to question that, and I don't think that anyone should. However, it can't answer everything. It doesn't answer everything. And it's been 500 years or whatever, so we've had the opportunity through this long arc to test out and demonstrate that it doesn't explain everything. mainly consciousness. And like the human psyche at the end of the day rebels against strict materialism because according to strict materialism, the human psyche is an illusion. We don't exist. Not really. Right? Which upsets people. Like I just don't know that it ends up being nihilistic, you know, and it's like, yeah, sure. Our identities and our culture are just stories we tell ourselves at the end of the day. So what are we going to do? Stop doing that? That would be insane, right? Just be like, yeah, well, I guess we're just not going to do culture anymore because it's all just stories anyway. Oh, it's just the chat doesn't allow long comments. We had court Monday and it got dismissed finally. Oh, okay. So you, no charges against you for beating her. That's good. And are you going to be able to get back in your dad's house? But yeah, so I think that in a way, the Enlightenment as a long period of history where we are totally focused on the idea of materialism explaining everything may be coming to a natural end. So I don't have to have the deputy there to be allowed access to my stuff. Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, here's hoping you get her out of there too. That sounds like somebody that you need to have just be gone. You need to have her gone, right? So yeah, that period, that long period of like very much you focus and reliance on the material explanation for things may have just sort of naturally rounded itself off in some ways. It maybe it's beginning to do that. So, which means that there's going to be, you know, a less material wave coming in the future. And I, for one, would like egalitarianism to have a hand in shaping that. Okay. I don't think we should sit around twiddling our thumbs, telling ourselves fundamentalists are the only people who need to believe in anything until it becomes, you know, undeniable that that's not true. Her betrayal is massive. I'd spent $10,000 keeping her alive for 8 years. Oh my gosh. Is this just a friend of yours? Do you mind me asking, who is this person? And I'm so sorry to be babbling on about something completely unrelated to that. Her name is Jennifer Bogutsky. Well, her name is a mouthful. And I guess I'm glad you got your stuff dismissed. Hooray. Seems like we're just throwing it all out there now, huh? But yeah, anyways. Also, as far as what I was saying, am I making any sense? You know, the way that cultural development in the West has been going over the last 20 years, and I think has been guided to go over the last longer than that. But I digress. Cluster B yacht full of Darvo. Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm sorry, hon. Too many of us have experiences with people like that. Mm-mm-mm. Autism makes me gullible? Oh. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm gullible too, and I don't even have that as an explanation. I just, I tend to take people at face value. Like, it's not about trusting them. It's about not being suspicious of every single person you meet. On the other hand, I don't meet many people. I tend to try and just avoid the situation as much as possible. This is terrible. It's probably not any better. I'm trying to rekindle all of my pro seminar lectures from grad school and am failing at historic materialism and all that other stuff I learned. Oh dear. Like, are these courses you've already taken? What is historic materialism as a topic? Majored in anthropology. Nice. Nice. That's awesome. So, is what I'm saying making any sense? Based upon your apparent limited memory of it. So I should be a pro at this sort of discussion, but meh. I did not go to school for any of this, but I did not get around to watching Human Resources this fortnight, so I don't get to talk about propaganda this week. But I'm just an interested person, I don't know, I think some people's minds just sort of run to certain things. You know how it is when somebody's can just sort of go on and on about something that is not interesting to you in the slightest, and it never even would have occurred to you to like of it as a topic even maybe, and they just I think some people's minds just run to certain things, and not everyone shares those things. I think that's fairly normal. I've met grown men who are super interested in trains, and I don't know if that's because they're autistic, but just I think that sometimes people. What I'm really trying to say is you don't need a degree in something to be knowledgeable about it. But you have the great resource there. I'm jealous. So I'm sure once you dust up your skills, you'll be sharp as a tack again, right? What a fantastically interesting subject. Also, I got some debt. Not too much, though. Oh, that's good. Are you using it for anything, That's always the big question. That's the question. Because, like, in my case, it would be this, so. And I don't even want to think about the debt I got doing that. That was so funny how he just kind of popped in on me in the middle of my rant earlier to offer me tea of all silly things. I have to apologize to him for my dagger eyes later. That was so funny. I think I'm at a pretty good place in my career with my education, but then again, it brings back J.D. Vance being 5 years older than me and accomplishing much more on Evil. You know, I don't know. Maybe it really is who you know, not what you know. I don't know. I am dreading getting to know that guy better, you know? Mm. And his name is JD? Like, really? Really? That's a nickname for a little boy before he grows up to be vice president of the goddamn United States. His name's James. Maybe I'll just start calling him that. Because I almost, like, I can't even. JD sounds like a dog's name. I'm sorry. It's a diminutive. It's nothing. It's not a name. It's ridiculous. Imagine going into politics, which is supposed to be all about respectability and not even bringing your full name with you. I don't know. But so, yeah, you've read some cultural history then. My whole Enlightenment thing. Does that make any sense? Or am I just, seeing patterns in things that aren't there? These are some great workshopping opportunities. I miss being able to bounce ideas off of everybody. I definitely try to make sense of cultural trends and stuff. Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody does. But sometimes, and I've said this in a different way. We're all conspiracy theorists now because the dominant narrative doesn't make any sense anymore. So we're all sort of left trying to figure things out for ourselves. But you know how sometimes somebody will come up with something really neat. And other times somebody will come up with something that's like creative, but like, maybe mistaken on something or whatever. I need to do some more research. That's really what is slowing me down with this idea. And then as far as commenting on the Trump administration, they are not in yet. So they cannot have done anything to comment upon yet. And the speculation just drives me crazy. Here's the people he has said maybe in his cabinet. Yeah. Come and find me when they are. Let's see who he fires first. There's a video idea. Just go through the list of crazy people he appoints to his cabinet and take bets on who he's going to fire first. I don't know the way that guy works. By the time I get that video up, it'll be bad. It'll have done it already. But so I don't know. I feel like trying to make sense of cultural trends is just sort of a strength of mine, and I say that because they don't tend to take me by surprise. Like, I don't know if he as an individual is going to get more extreme or mellow out. Oh, JD Vance? Oh. I don't expect anything good from that guy. Especially as young as he is. Ooh, he is just cutting his teeth. Are you kidding me? No. And he apparently has a whole host of fundamentalist Christians in his corner. So I see no reason to expect temperance from that guy at all. Trump mainly. Like, it seems like his entourage administration is more unhinged. Right, yeah. I think, okay, Trump is going to mellow out, if only because he's getting old, and that'll slow you down. I thought we were still talking about J.D. Vance, obviously. No, and I saw something interesting, which is that, as a movement, they really only need him for a couple more years. He's the lame duck president now. He only gets one more term, and everybody knows it. And it's interesting because a couple years ago, it was Trump forever. And now they're like, oh, wait, he's 80. And we've seen in history what happens if somebody, big, powerful figurehead dies without naming a successor. That's not good news for anybody in that movement, is it? So. And Elon Musk, what the fuck is with that? I can't stand that man. Nothing about him rubs me the right way. Nothing. I think I said that a couple of weeks ago. I don't understand why he's suddenly so involved in this particular conversation. I was having a good time mostly ignoring him and living my best life in that way. Not happy to have Elon Musk in my hair. Mm-mm. In some corners of my mind, I'm thinking I'm willing to give Trump a D+ if he manages to get rid of daylight savings time. Oh, I was just talking about what was that? My sister was talking with him about that the other day. Why do we even do that? There's at least a couple of different stories I've heard. Which is, one of them is about farming. And the other one is about saving electricity somehow. And I feel like they're both bunk. And every so often there'll be, a bill that comes up to abolish it, and then it just doesn't happen. For some reason. Because for a moment he was writing on Americans being united on no partisan issues like healthcare. He was. Trump is the healthcare candidate now? How in the fuck did I miss that? Please expound on that. I don't know what you're talking about there. I felt like it after the assassination. The assassination attempt, you mean? Yeah. Again, I don't know what the fuck Trump was writing on, because leading up to the election, I was not paying him as much attention as I could manage. Because what am I going to do? Vote for the guy? What am I going to do? Be convinced? I was still hoping he would lose, obviously. Quite frankly, I'm not really, especially super looking forward to cranking back up into full political gear. It's going to be exhausting. Because that's when he said he was going to get rid of daylight savings time. Did he? Wow. See, I missed that too. So I was not paying attention to him. Oh yeah, I wanted him to lose too. Yeah. Yeah, I think most of us here did. Oh. I don't know. I have finally managed to insulate myself from cable TV in a way that I've, aspired to for years. But then consequently, I just don't see a lot of this stuff. I just don't hear a lot of this stuff. Which is an interesting position to be in. We could totally get rid of daylight savings time. I think that would be a A very popular position for any platform. It's just so like, I don't know. It feels like it maybe even a third tier priority. I feel like maybe that's why it never happens. I mean, in like definition of terms, like I can't just sit here and talk about the Enlightenment, right? I mean, I could, but that's silly. I want to like, you know, spend 15 seconds defining what I mean by that, and yeah, I don't know. Like I say, these were just kind of some big ideas that I was playing with, and oh, I just kept getting interrupted the other day. Being stuck in the house because it is 25 degrees outside is for the birds. This bites. So, like I say, we're getting a couple of nice days coming up. I am going outside. Oh my gosh, I am going outside. Ooh. Oh, and sitting in here trying to film on Monday was such an adventure because almost everybody. Little guy has school, but everybody else was home that day. Everybody else was home. So, but so yeah. I think that is one of the weirder places it goes to, though. Is it? My conclusion about the strict materialism thing is like, are we really going to rationalize ourselves away? Is that? Are we really comfortable with that? I don't know. I'm not sure that that's a great idea. How real is the mind? How real is your identity? And I feel like these are existential questions that we have sort of started grappling with anyway. Um, our latest era seems to be very preoccupied with sort of existential matters, and it has been characterized as a shallow, sort of decadent thing. Oof, damn. What, trying to film in the house? It would be nice if the dogs could keep themselves on a schedule. That sounds like a fantasy land. But like, yeah, I do. I think I don't know that it is shallow to be preoccupied with like existential questions. I don't know that it's decadent to be. Again, I think that's materialism talking. That's utilitarianism talking. You know, uh, which I'm all about practicality, but I'm all about balance too. I think utilitarianism has limited applications. It has some, but I don't know. Obviously, we are arrogant to believe that every philosophy that can exist already does. I don't know. I heard something a while back, like gosh, months and months ago, that has stuck with me. Something about that to like I think it was talking about like religious experiences, but to like take, what ancient people experienced or even people a few hundred years ago and see it through a modern lens is to like assume that you know better than they did. And it's like, well, yeah. I mean, that is the idea, right? That is the goal, right? That's why we don't do any of that stuff anymore, is because we think we know better. That's the and that is the core conceit of the idea of progress at all, is that maybe we might be able to figure out a better solution to anything than people have in the past. Call that arrogant if you will, but like I don't. I guess is what I'm saying. I feel like my camera is dirty. Um, far from arrogant, I think it's like our duty to try our best to try and come up with, like, our experiences are a whole lot different. Our paradigms are a whole lot different. And I think it's the more you go back and look, the more I go back and look at, especially ancient sources and like the way people used to like mystery cults. What's that about? Do we still do stuff like that? I mean, sort of. But we can't, on the one hand, crow about our technological advancements, right? And how society is so different, therefore. And then, on the other hand, claim that no, but we're all just the same. Yeah. So, either progress has been made or it hasn't. Is it arrogant to believe in progress? And these are some of the bigger questions that are, I think, just bubbling up in the general zeitgeist. I try not to be nihilistic, but I'm also a naturalistic pagan. Which having something like that, I think, makes it a lot easier to not be nihilistic. And that's, really what I'm getting at, is that I think if there's going to be some sort of what, there's some really pretentious, numinous, that's what it is. It's a really pretentious word that means like ethereal and non-material and sort of spiritual and like all that stuff. Numinous. Okay. So if there's going to be some sort of a revival of the numinous, okay, within modern culture, I don't think we should leave that to the fundamentalists. Do you? I really, really, really don't. And that's one of the reasons, and I said this last week or something, I don't often get an opportunity to talk about this. It's not really relevant to like feminism or politics, but lately it is, okay? Unverified personal gnosis, right? Which is more than intuition. It's more than an inkling. It's those weird experiences where you just feel like something tells you stuff. Call it your conscience, call it God, call it the universe, call it whatever the fuck you want. People do have these experiences. And they are one of, if not the most transformative experiences a person can have, right? Like, I want to believe in the metaphysical, but I need proof and stuff, right? Which is so ironic, right? And that's what I'm saying. You need to experience it for yourself, and that's the catch about this kind of thing, is it is, like, by definition, beyond general regular experience. So it's like impossible to describe. You cannot give these experiences vicariously to anyone. It never works. It's like trying to share a dream that you've had. You can tell them about it, but like it's just not going to hit the same as the experience itself, right? People do have these experiences. And they don't have to be religious experiences. is what I'm getting at all. I don't feel that at all. And I think that limiting them to a strictly religious, fundamental, very tight, dogmatic framework is actually stifling over time, like the human spirit in general. Which is why we feel like one of the reasons that we feel like we have this just sort of flatlining of, culture is because it's been cut off from the oxygen that it needs to live, which is, the individual inspiration that comes from within each person. These are ideas I've been playing with, is sort of in my head, so pardon me rambling. And to get really fringe for a minute, we do live in a society that just medicalizes these, because that's the materialist framework, right? Everything that's real is measurable. And if your experience falls outside of these measurable parameters that were the only thing that, we know is real, then you're just crazy and you need pills. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes people have really frightening, destructive experiences, and those people need help. But that's not always what it is it? And I've said this before too. That to me is the difference where, does somebody have a spirit guide or is somebody having a psychotic breakdown? Well, what is the spirit guide saying? Is it helping? Is their life getting better or worse? Like literally. And even medical science can't come up with a better. Why are they going to do no harm, right? Why are they going to interfere with someone who is not suffering? They tend not to. And where is the line between, why is religious experience, an accepted thing? And I feel like that's why a lot of these crazy people end up there. Because there is less, I don't know, the whole thing is just too cordoned off from one another. Because you're not allowed to talk psychology in religious circles, and you're not allowed to talk religion in psychology circles. Really. Poor William. That makes me think of poor William James, who literally had to come up, speaking of inventing a philosophy, had to come up with pragmatism in order to justify his discoveries about the human mind and brain with his personal religious beliefs and the conflict there. Like that, there was such a big conflict that he had to sort of just split himself in two, from what I've read. It's so scary. Because then that's what dogma will do to you. Imagine just not being able to update your religious beliefs. It's like, oh, okay, well, if this is how the world works, then that must be what God did. Imagine not being able to do that. Excuse me. At least the sun is out today. I should nab somebody. I should get my oldest, she's our second oldest, but the older one's been out so long. Anyway, I should get somebody in here to talk to me next time. It's so quiet in here. It's hard to just think aloud for 2 hours. But so, yeah, as far as proof, that's why you can't get that, or one of the reasons anyway, because, it's like trying to prove a dream you had or prove that you love somebody. It doesn't work that way. You can't prove you had that dream. You know you did, and they just have to take your word for it, right? But, the materialist paradigm demands demonstrable, reproducible proof. which is interesting because according to that paradigm, you either can reproduce that dream or it didn't happen. This is obviously not true. Which is, I don't know, maybe the difference between life and a lab. Because you cannot control the conditions in life like that. And therefore, there's stuff that goes on that can't be controlled for. It almost sounds like chaos theory. I don't know. I have had many interesting conversations with many interesting people, but I need to read more books. Honestly, the kids are getting older. I might actually have time now. Ooh. I'm not asking for recommendations, though, so please don't give them. I have a TBR that'd probably be this high if I stacked it. Because I was so optimistic about it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to stop reading books. I'm not going to stop reading. I did. I kept on reading for, 4 or 5 years after my son was born. And then life just got too much. I don't know. I don't even want to say too hectic. I think it was just too much. Y'all know how that is, don't you? Y'all know how that is. I don't know. It's hard being in a position where, like, I have a lot of strong opinions about, like, the religious aspect of things, but I don't really necessarily want to make videos about that stuff. I just like, I don't need to anyway. I'm planning on one. And I'm not really looking forward to this either, but it needs to be done. We have to poke theological holes in the New Apostolic, the Trump people, in their platform. We have to poke theological holes in it because it's not. I mean, those pastors in that video a couple of weeks ago or whenever were right. It's not Christian. It's not. And there's some. It's like fan fiction with awful plot holes that don't respect the original source material, and that's how I'm gonna play it. That's how I'm gonna frame it. That sounds like more fun, doesn't it? Oh, that sounds like more fun. Where's my page? Oh my gosh. I need to stop writing so much. The most obvious one being the obvious, like the prosperity doctrine of it all. Our wealth means that God favors us, and that's an old favorite, right? That's an old gem of those who would see themselves as the ruling elite or whatever. And like, that's not in scripture. That's not in scripture. In fact, I'm pretty sure Jesus said something about getting rid of all your worldly possessions and going out to help the poor or something like that. The exact opposite. And I'm, again, not a Christian and not super into that stuff, so I can't sit here and quote it for you just now. But this is, one of the many things that I know is contradicted in there. by the stuff that these people are saying, not to mention the xenophobic stuff. Like, and I think it's worth doing. It's worth going over that, not just because it needs to be said, because, well, I don't like people who are actually corporate misandrists going around calling themselves feminists. So I don't especially agree with the idea of some, white supremacist weirdos going around calling themselves Christians when they're not. It's worth pointing out that these people are not what they're saying they are, just generally, and specifically because I'm not trying to alienate Christian people. Like, that's not what I'm going for with the whole heathen left thing. I think that there is a large argument for anybody who follows the teachings of Jesus to be on our side, the not racist and misogynistic side, to say nothing of like, and I had a Christian friend of mine. He is like his dad was a something I forget, but he grew up very entrenched in this, especially as a kid. Was talking about how Jesus treated women and was nice to them and whatever. So there's arguments there. Like it's prosperity gospel, Faustian deal, kind of two sides of the same coin, and that they both seem very occult. Yeah. That's a good point. I'm actually gonna write that down because I like that wording. And yeah, and I think I said this a couple of weeks ago too, which is like, if I did believe in the devil, who do you think is motivated by that? The people who are after wealth and money and power and trying to make all of the brown people subservient? I mean, does that sound like... And this makes me laugh. I definitely talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Jesus was a Middle Eastern Jew. I don't think that he was a white supremacist. Oh, you gotta go? Okay. Hey, Mecca, how you doing? Bye, geek girl. How you doing, Mecca? Oh, we're having fun today. We're cranking out the interesting topics today. Yeah, you're right. But Alfalfa, you're right. The prosperity gospel does sound like a Faustian bargain, where supernatural favors for doing their bidding, right? That sounds like a deal with the devil. My goodness. And he is a trickster, I mean, really. We can come at this from that's 3 different angles, I think, for why these people are not Christian and why anybody who considers themselves a follower of Christ should be on our side. All the people Sam's truck would be worse for. Face got proved wrong hard. What? When Trump forced through a deal Israel hated so much. Oh, all the people saying Trump would be worse for face got proved wrong hard when Trump forced through a deal Israel hated so much the Prime Minister of War publicly quit and called us traitors. Oh. Okay. For Gaza. See what I'm on the phone, yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. It's nice to see you. All the people. Okay. All the people saying Trump would be worse for Gaza got proved wrong hard when Trump forced through a deal Israel hated so much. A ceasefire in Palestine. Okay. That's good. Ceasefires are good. I'm on the side of peace. I'm not on any particular side in that uh, conflict. I'm doing my best to type that Trump actually got a ceasefire over there finally. Yeah, right. That's good. That's good. He pushed it through, did he? Would love to know how he managed that. He's not even president yet. Again, I should be paying more attention to this shit. I am just like, why is he even doing anything yet? He's not president until Monday. Am I missing something? I believe I did hear a little bit of chatter about that, but I wasn't paying any attention because he can't do anything yet. I don't know legally. He threatened to cut aid to Israel, which is what everyone with sense has been saying the entire needed to happen to get it. Okay. I'm tempted to ask why he would be interested in a ceasefire, but I probably don't actually want to know. Because I know why we're interested in it. Because peace is good. I doubt that's why he or anyone really, around him would be interested in that. My immediate thought is you can't send all the Jews home to Israel for our, amazing end times prophecy if the area goes up in flames and is embroiled in a big war. I don't know. Like, I feel like the Palestinians probably don't enter into their calculations directly, They're probably just in the way. But again, I think I'm more skeptical of him than you are. I seem to remember that. The whole time, everyone with sense has been saying they won't come to the table if they have our unconditional support for endless war. Biden and Harris refuse to even put that on the table. I mean, both parties, I don't think they care about these folks, and they don't care if they don't. I don't think they care about these folks and don't care if they don't. I just care they're not healing with the help they've been going through anymore. I doubt they care why. But yeah. I'm just thinking of it obviously from a distant, more strategic perspective. As is the guy who's going to be our president. So I'm trying to figure out what he might be thinking. Wish me luck there. I see children celebrating on my timeline, and it's a weight off my heart. Oh, that's good. Is that on TikTok? What do you think about that? So, it's good that they got the ceasefire, obviously. Oh, and it's hard to argue with children celebrating on X. I've never been a TikTok person. I always TikTok going bye-bye still? Yeah. Yeah, it is. I've always been an ADHD and don't risk with my attention span. Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm not on TikTok either. I don't necessarily support them fucking banning it though. My understanding is that ability to pay attention to longer things is a use it or lose it thing. Yeah. I was just explaining that to my younger one the other day. Attention is like a muscle that you can strengthen with practice or lose with lack of practice. Yeah. I do think that's true. And that's one of the reasons I stayed away from it. That amazingly spooky, addictive algorithm would be the other reason. I don't want an algorithm that knows me so well and knows exactly what I'm going to want to see before I do. No, it's fine. That's creepy. Don't support a band, but I feel like I'd be more susceptible to stupid shit if I were on it. Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. It's just not for me, right? At least not right now. I don't know. I was kind of thinking of maybe going there in support of the book when I finally get that done, which I'm still working on that, by the way. I had said something about getting part 1 done by the end of the year, and then that ended up being, I would have had to rush so bad to do that. But I'm still working on it. I was just sitting here before I got on here. I was just sitting here thinking what I need to do next, which is go back through my master scene list and erase most of it because I have to. Oh, God. Maybe I don't have to do this. I don't know. It's just so stupid. There's taking the macro view of it. There's 2 sequences. Okay, because I had been thinking of it in terms of scenes, right? But then there are certain scenes that kind of lead together, like notes in a musical phrase, right? So I've been sort of starting to think of it in terms of sequences more than scenes. The scenes are still in the sequences, but so I have bigger pieces that I'm sort of shuffling around now. And looking at it this way, I can clearly see that this scene and this scene are part of a sequence that need to go together, and they are not. There's an entire chapter between them, and I don't know why. So I don't like the idea of the government banning things they feel they can't censor enough because of the First Amendment. Yeah. Well, like they clearly, come up with a better alternative then. And I feel like they tried. I feel like people have tried to do that. Yeah, I didn't hear anything suggesting it would be good for me, and enough of the content from there made it to other platforms not designed to make me insane for my taste. Yeah, right. But really, social media sites take the government threats of censorship in exchange for the government not holding them liable for human trafficking or antitrust violations. Yeah. That's true. The corruption goes both ways. And it's just so fun how all of this electronic infrastructure has sort of popped up out of nowhere and is completely unregulated. It's like roads with no speed limits and no signs and no traffic cops, On the other hand, your social media feed is what you make of it, right? I think a lot of us have ended up coming to that conclusion. It feels very regulated if you disagree with some medical suggestions from the government or when wars end. Yeah. Well, okay. It strikes me as very interesting because the same people who, on the one hand, are all let the market decide when it comes to the economy all of a sudden when it comes to culture stuff are like, ban it, ban it, ban it. Why don't you let the market decide? Why don't you let the marketplace of ideas sift the best ones to the surface? Why don't you let that happen? Could it be that perhaps this is bullshit? I'm just asking, You're hypocrites who don't even understand what a free market is. Yeah. No, I know. It's only a free market issue when it's regulating something they want to do. Right? Yeah. And then I don't know. There's some kind of complex weirdness going on with people who feel entitled to regulate other people's behavior. And I'm not talking water usage, like reproductive behavior. Like you feel like you get to tell other people how to live personal, fundamental aspects of their lives. It's impossible to have a truly free market with no regulations. They're not smart enough to understand without regulation all you have is cartels owning us all. Hey, kitty cat. How you doing? Excuse me. Doggone it. I'm going to have to go and get some water. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. Hang on just a minute. I gotta bring it in here. Oh, this is going to be an adventure. Actually, I can't. Hang on a minute. Oh, gosh. Okay. So you guys get to watch me open this bottle of water. Because look at this. But we had somebody come and test our water last night. And suffice it to say, it is bad. So I ran to the store and got a couple of jugs of water, and it was like some of the last ones they had. So of course they're mangled. The ones no one else wanted. Fell off the truck. What are we talking about? We've been kind of all over the place. At the moment, whether the TikTok ban is a violation of free speech. And I was just saying how I think it's just so ironic that the people who are all about the free market, when it comes to economics, when it comes to ideas and social issues, they're like, ban it, ban it, ban it. Why don't y'all want to let the free market do its job? Maybe the best ideas will, be brought to the surface by natural market forces. It is a violation of free speech, yeah. That seems to be the consensus. I can only agree, honestly. Oh, shoot. How am I going to do this? Oh, shoot. I need another set of hands to hold the bottle still. I just want to drink of water, you guys. Oh my God. Okay, if I can maybe. There! Ah! I knew it was going to do that. Okay. So I put the towel down. What an adventure is life, eh? Oh my gosh. And it's going to be a mess. Okay. There we go. Hooray! And apparently the water in this part of the country is sort of notoriously just bad anyway, which you know, I didn't know that. Holy crap. Ugh. Ah, making it worse. All right, we'll just set this over here. Israel wants it banned, that's why. Ooh, you're the first person I've heard say that. Too many uploads that China isn't censoring of the genocide, which has led a lot of people being against Israel. I can see those comments. You're the first person I've heard say that. What do you make of what Mecca was saying a minute ago about Trump pushed through a ceasefire, apparently? Which I have two questions. I need to look into this, obviously, which is A, how is he doing anything yet? And B, does that make him the good guy now? Like, what is this? There was details leaked about it. Right. But how is he negotiating anything with anybody? He's not in a position legally to do that yet. Right? I don't. And of course, China's not censoring the Palestine stuff because they're not worried about it, or what? Oh, and I was talking about how I had to reorganize. Not reorganize. I had to swap out two different sections in this part, the first part of my book, because long story short, I noticed that like it's a sequence that needs to go together, and I cut it up, and I don't remember why I put that in that order, and I'm trying to figure out like how to do time jumps. Like, oh my gosh, I was listening to this thing last night where a dude was like, 3 mistakes your novel would be better off without, and one of them was lots of time jumps and characters being alone, and I'm like, well, there goes half my book. Okay. I don't know. I think that you can, like, obviously you can have a character be alone and have it be compelling. You have to create a compelling inner world. For every individual on this planet, their own thoughts are like one of the most riveting things there is, right? All you have to do is create effects. A compelling character can have compelling thoughts and a compelling narrative perspective just from their own experience, right? I mean, I just thought it was funny. I don't know. I have a pretty good idea what I'm doing and how I'm trying to accomplish it at this point. I mostly listen to the writing advice stuff for amusement, entertainment purposes. And I wonder how much some of those people actually know about writing. Some of them are pretty qualified, but a lot of them aren't. She's totally right on that. A lot of people saw for the first time what Israel was doing over there on TikTok. Uh-huh. Gotcha. No, and I don't doubt it. But so, okay. On the one hand, it looks like our government is running interference for Israel again. But then on the other hand, you have Trump doing the ceasefire that they apparently did not want. So is all of a sudden the Trump administration not going to be running interference for Israel? Because who believes that? He can't force a ceasefire. He's probably hoping shit gets sorted out before he's in office. Right? Okay, that makes more sense. It's not unusual for president-elects to meet with foreign leaders, and some will prefer that to meeting with the current president, depending on their views. Okay. And maybe I'm being pedantic. Maybe he essentially became officially president the day he got elected. I don't know. I'm not a foreign leader, am I? I don't know how all that works. But sincerely, I mean, that's my question, I guess. Do you believe that the Trump administration is going to be less in it for Israel than every other administration for the last ever has been? That's what I started to say a minute ago. Republicans and Democrats, both sides, have always done that. As far as I am aware, it's a violation of the Logan Act to do diplomacy if you're not the president, but an exception is made for a president-elect, say least informally, if not legally. Okay. He doesn't want to do it, but he'll have to because the Edelmans bought him. He doesn't want to run interference for Israel, but he has to. And that's kind of the impression that I get from all of them, if I'm honest. Most of them, anyway. Like, I grew up, I swear, so he'll be pro-Israel. Okay, right. Because they always are, aren't they? They always are. That's one of the strange things, because they flip-flop. Our government, does 180s on a lot of stuff fairly often because of the way, our election cycles are, and we, hop back and forth between parties. But, like, he knows it's bad optics. That's what he cares about. He knows being pro-Israel's bad optics, yeah. But again, he can't run again. The way things stand now, anyway, assuming they don't manage to actually pursue, excuse me, a Trump imperial agenda, he doesn't need to worry about his future electoral chances, right? I mean, maybe those of his party in the primary, in the midterms. Do you suppose he's thinking like that? He doesn't seem like the kind of fellow that thinks like that, to me. He's talking about, optics for himself. It's what would worry a guy like that, I think. He's most likely to do what he did last time he was in office, which is generally support them but try to split the difference to minimize interruptions in business interests. I mean, for all I know, that's why he would be interested in a ceasefire, right? It's because it's bad for business. Is it disruption over there is bad for business? Like, war is not bad for business, right? War is great for business. We know that, but chaos isn't. Chaos is terrible for business. So maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know. Most MAGA are not pro-Israel. Okay, because like I say, a lot of people in his orbit sure are. Are even the MAGA protesting? Were they even they? Getting involved with the Palestinian protests? An opinion in the Washington Post. Yeah, when they're rich, right? No administration. So rich MAGA are participating in pro-Palestinian protests? No administration has allowed them to go as far as this one has with the human rights violations. Yeah, well, I wonder if that has anything to do with Biden being asleep at the wheel. No, but so this headline, MAGA using Israel against Ukraine is hurting both countries. And I don't even understand that headline. I'd have to read the article to even understand what they're talking about. Da 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 da. MAGA influencer celebrates missile strike on Israel. God bless Iran. Oh my goodness. Trump has the pressure of the America First crowd to not appear more in favor of any country other than this one. He has to worry about the future of his movement. But his base is working class. They don't like putting money into foreign wars. I also think he has interest in supporting the political ambitions at least some of his children have. Okay. He has always looked like a bumbling idiot to me. Maybe I'm missing something. He does not strike me as a strategically minded individual. But I could be wrong about that. Maybe he's playing us all, I don't know. I know there are many people out there convinced that he, is involved in some sort of 3D chess game where he is playing everybody all the time. But, yeah, I don't know. I even heard somebody characterize the freaking oversized suits as like some kind of stylistic choice that like is meant to impart some kind of impression. And I'm like, the only impression that ever gave to me was that the man doesn't know how to dress himself. Trump's one daughter married a Lebanese businessman, and Trump started talking about ending this conflict when the war spilled into Lebanon. Oh, yeah. He's got charisma and talks like he's one of them, like a regular New Yorker. Yeah. Again, I think the charisma must be like come across in person. It does not come through on camera, in my opinion. I've never. And this is going all the way back to when he was in Home Alone for some reason. I have always thought he looked like a creep. There's something about the way he smiles, like, yeah, like he's got away with something. He looks like the cat that caught the canary. Always. I've always had that impression from him. He's just failed upwards. I don't know. Some things are inexplicable. Maybe I'm missing something. Because again, the man doesn't even know how to find a suit that fits. He supposedly got all this money. He can't even hire a tailor. I don't. He looks like he wears off-the-rack stuff that's a size too big. It doesn't appeal to me, but I know why it looks appealing to others. And see, that's why I don't get it. I don't get his appeal. I understand that doesn't negate it or anything, but I don't. Like, so what? He talks like a normal person? So what? He dresses like a moron. It's okay. It's okay. Apparently, it's expecting too much from a politician, someone who is asking you to trust them with your money and the economy and infrastructure and everything to wear clothes they fit. Yeah, but look at his opposition. The Dems look, act, talk like bots. Yeah, right. Which, now that you're here, I'm going to repeat what I said a little while ago about, I mentioned in this week's video, which, by the way, did you watch it? Was it funny? About how I'm cooking something. And that's true, and it's about this idea of sort of the long arc of like cultural development, wherein I feel like the Enlightenment is termed as this period that apparently ended in like the early 19th century, and I just don't know if I agree with that, because you could classify it as a period that's been characterized by this just overwhelming, like the main paradigm is of materialism, right? I will, but I just woke up, yeah. I actually think he dresses fine. His style suits his build and what he's trying to project. The formality of a suit combined with the fit tempering that impression for relatability. Great. See, okay. And that's your impression of it, and I just don't agree. That's apparently other people's impression of it too. Apparently he's got something going on. I just don't see it. It happens. But yeah, so the idea, the overarching paradigm has been one of materialism, of rationality, of the scientific method. And while this paradigm has proven itself effective over and over and over again, I'm talking to you through it right now, it has its limits, right? And it's been like 400 or 500 years, like centuries of this long arc of us testing over and over again the limit, improving or disproving the ideas that if it's real, we can measure it, right? And if we can't measure it, then it's not real. The problem with that is that the human psyche falls under that category. Is that, we've essentially wished ourselves away under that paradigm. Like, it has its limits, right? And so I'm wondering if it's not, coming to its sort of natural end, right? Where we collectively are sort of realizing that we still have to grapple with the larger existential problems, and there are limits to the ability of materialism to explain our world. And if we're going to be moving into some sort of future era of, building on our material understanding in a more abstract way, I don't think we should leave the shape of that up to fundamentalists. I like him enough to vote for him anytime he ran, but if we didn't have third parties, I would have voted for him. I would have voted him over Biden, but not over Clinton. I think we put too much stock into the idea we can prove everything worth knowing with a scientific method. Right, exactly. And I think collectively we are coming to that conclusion, especially since science is subject to politics and corporate pressure. Right. The science now says man can become... Right. That science has its limits. Okay? And we are collectively beginning to realize that. That doesn't mean that we need to abandon it, right? And it certainly doesn't mean that we need to just, give up what progress we have made. And by progress, I mean things that are constructive and make people's lives better. It's the constructive versus destructive metric. What's good? Well, and how you determine what is constructive versus destructive is maybe, something that needs to be situational. But like, generally speaking, I think that's a really strong metric. Obviously, the idea that men can become women is destructive to the idea of women. Like the concept. Never mind our lives. And so, therefore, obviously, it will be detrimental to our lives, right? Oh, no. To me, that's obvious anyway. And so I think that, there's a lot of people kind of talking around the edges of that idea that I think we're all fucked. I don't think humans are long for this world. Yeah, I know. Maybe I'm asking the wrong person. I just, I'm inclined to hope for the best. I guess I hope you're wrong, I guess is what I'm saying. Let's be confrontational about it. I'm a child-free woman who's taking a page from the boomers and not worrying about what folks will do when I am dead. YOLO. Okay. Call me morbid, but I think about that quite a bit, actually. And I don't know. You could blame the fact that I have kids, but I don't think that's why, because I always has been this way. I've always sort of taken the long view of stuff. I've always, like, stuff like anthropology really fascinates me for that reason, because from such a remove, you do get sort of just the big kind of overarching picture of things, the big shape of things. And I've definitely met some parents with their heads up their asses. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. And if somebody accused me of taking a page from the boomer playbook, I would be personally offended, but hey, you do you. No, I did not. I started out by saying that. I'm not allowed to talk about propaganda this week because I didn't get around to watching it. But in my defense, I can't even tell you all the insanity that's been going on this week. The kids were home all week last week from school. And then this week we've had doctor visits and a hospital visit, and I actually got recently diagnosed hyperglycemic, so I've had to do a bunch of extra cooking because I had to change my entire menu. So that's taken up a lot of my time, I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could show you. I have the tab open, like it's right there. I have been staring at it all fortnight this whole time, telling myself I need to sit and watch this. I need to sit and watch this. Like, I want to. That's the thing that's killing me. Man, I didn't watch any other movies either. I mean, I was hard pressed to get that video out, honestly. I didn't get the script finished. Y'all, it's been a time. The hospital visit, though, everybody's okay. Everybody's okay. Anyways, yeah, and it looks like my sister is going to go stay with my mom, who is not her mom, because I live in a sitcom. And I'm busy setting up a spinoff, is what I'm doing. Because they're like this odd couple pairing where she is older and conservative and apparently Christian. And then my sister is none of those things. And they're not related, but they look like they are. So that's going to be a fun time. But so that's going to involve moving her to Ohio. So that's going to take up some time as well. I guess that's where I deter on the metaphysical, because I at least want my earthly remains to be put to good use after I'm gone, either intellectually or bodily. Yeah. Right. I think that's a natural and good impulse to want to feel like you added something. Right? Anything. Hey, maybe you could do a scheduled live reaction on YouTube watching Human Resources. What a good idea. I would have to find a way to put it on the screen somehow. Right? So everybody else can watch it with me. I know people do that. People do it all the time, so you can. I just don't know how. You're right. Yeah, I don't know how either, but I have a couple of people I could ask. That's a solid idea, because I've been wanting to maybe have, these hangout chats are fun. But I've been thinking of, maybe coming up with some activities or, something like that to do, rather than just hang out. Just because I feel like that would take some pressure off of me. I feel very Like I need to keep you entertained. And like some weeks it's easy and some weeks it's less easy. And you know, some weeks it would be nice to have just a bit more structure to them and a bit like an activity to do. You watch, I'll get emotionally invested too. It'll be worth watching whatever my reaction is. I guarantee it. Like I don't watch a lot of movies and that's why. Because they hit me like a truck. Like it doesn't matter what it is. That would be great. Plus you wouldn't get copyrighted because it's free for public use. Yeah. So yeah. I have a couple of people I can ask about how I do that. Because like I could put it on right now. Like I say, it's in the tab here. I just y'all wouldn't be able to see it. It's taking forever to load this tab. I just wanted to play a little bit of it so you know I'm not lying. uh Contains controversial subject matter. Wow. No, not here. Oh no. If there is a devil in history, it is the power. Okay. That's an interesting quote. Oh, babies. Great. Oh, I have the sound off. Oh, and the music is spooky. Okay. Neck and Alfalfa. Have y'all seen that documentary? Yeah. Has anybody else seen it? Human Resources? It's a documentary on propaganda, I guess. You've told me 50 times. Don't tell me again. I need to just watch it. There's spooky music over black and white footage of little babies. Alfalfa says no. Which is already making me antsy, you know? Like, way to set the tone there. Amazing. You should, yeah. I should too. We've been saying that for like a year or something, right? Oh my gosh. And Mecca hasn't seen it either. All right. So that could be fun. That could really be fun. Well, you know, watch the space. That could be something to do in a couple of weeks. That gives me a couple of weeks to figure out how to do that. And I can just put that information like in the end of the next video. I'll just be like, so, you know, stick around for the live stream where we're going to be doing a watch party, etc. and so forth. Let's do this live then. That'd be so much fun. Yeah, well, yeah, well. Yeah. And like I say, I'm going to be like I will laugh, I will cry. I am not probably the person to go to a quiet movie theater with. Yeah, I love it. I don't want to promise because I'm not sure how to do it. But yeah, I love that idea. What a great idea. So I will put it in the community tab, I guess. If I figure out how to make this happen, then I will let y'all know in the community tab. That's what it's for, right? Yeah. I will see if I can't tag you too. Tags are fun. Amanda taught us that, right? Don't know how much you'll be laughing at this. No, I know. I'm just saying. Well, first of all, I laugh at weird things sometimes. But secondly, I'm just saying I will become emotionally invested. That's why I don't watch a lot of movies. Because they, like, either they hit me like a truck, which is what I expect from this one, or the writing is so bad that I'm just sitting there complaining about the writing the whole time. But I feel like this one's not. It's not a film, so. Oh, did y'all hear about Runaway Siren? Yeah. I think it was Alfalfa said that at the beginning. So again, I'm just gonna repeat the only thing I know to say, which is I'm just shocked. I don't know any real details about it. I shared the GoFundMe or the whatever it is, the crowdfunding thing to get her home. How awful. And her videos were always so strong, you know. You donated to try to get her home. Yeah, that's good. I wish I could. And I guess he said it was just some kind of medical complication. Like, I just watched the one of the videos. Like, oh my God. I can't help. So it just feels like voyeurism. Hey, Joe. How you doing, honey? Oh my gosh. Way to come in right at the end when things get dark. I didn't know that, kitty cat. DKA. Oh my God. That hits me really close to home. My sister's been in the hospital for that twice. Yeah, and then, oh my God. I didn't know she was diabetic. Yeah, no, my little sister has been in the hospital for that twice this year. It's scary shit. And then the other night, that's what I was mentioning, we were going to have a hospital visit this week. That happened again. And she hadn't been sick or anything. Like, it just sort of came out of nowhere. And we caught it before it got that bad this time, but she just spiked. Only 23. Oh my God. That's so terrible. No, and I'm going to say it again. Her videos were always so strong, too. That's like, I feel like the best compliment I have to give. Because I really didn't know her, obviously. But she was clearly a bright person. She was trying to get back to the States to get her health under control. Oh my God. I guess what I'm saying is I know that it can just flare up on you like that, apparently out of nowhere. Yeah, it was just really sudden too. Right, yeah. DKA can be like that. The nurse was just telling us. God, was that yesterday morning? We were over there at like 5 o'clock yesterday morning. That you can just have a brittle moment where it's just bad luck. And I was like, really? That's terrifying. Right, well. So that's actually another reason why sending my sister to stay with my mom, who is not her mom, might be better for her because type 1 is dangerous. Hell yeah. That's life. Yeah. Well, so sad since she had just got out of the hospital from a DKA episode in the fall. Oh, wow. See, obviously, I didn't follow her so closely, but I just don't even know what to say. That's so terrifying and terrible. Oh my God. I mean, I meant the impermanent parts. Oh, yeah. True. The only constant is change. No, but anyway, all I was trying to say is that my mom used to live with our dad and deal with his diabetes, so which is where it came from. I don't even know what's. That's so damn sad. I mean, I don't know. And I was thinking about this about in regards to my sister the other night. So maybe it applies here, which is that I mean, thanks to medicine and science, those people get to live, you know, because that is something that until a few decades ago was just that you just died, you know. If your pancreas stopped functioning properly, you just fucking died. And the insulin is, you know, frightening to deal with in a lot of ways. But on the other hand, you know, like I say, my dad has it. I literally owe my existence to injectable insulin. Um, and I just wonder, I don't know, that population's not being served very well. Yeah, type 1 diabetes used to be a childhood death sentence for the most part, right? And now we have children getting adult onset diabetes. Yeah, right. Which is a whole nother can of worms. No, and I think I think I said this before you came on here. I recently got diagnosed as hyperglycemic, so that's one of the things that's been taking up my time lately. Is I had to completely reevaluate my diet and everything that I've been cooking. And yeah, that's just taking up a whole lot of brain space. Because you know what? I'm not gonna get is fucking diabetes. I'm not doing that. I'm not. On the other hand, I know what to do, and I know what I've been doing wrong. My family's prone to type 2. Yeah. My mom's family's prone to type 2. My dad has had type 1 my whole life. My little sister has had type 1 most of her life. I know what to do. I've just been, you know, riding my privilege of being young and not insulin dependent, you know. Keto. Yeah, essentially. I'm not actually diabetic yet. So I'm not cutting out breads and grains and stuff. I'm going whole grain with it. I have cut out potatoes though, which was something that I always said I was never gonna do. And at this point, I'm just sitting here going, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Cutting carbs sucks. Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at it more as having emphasis on the fiber. Like I am cutting candy is gone. Anything but the 2 spoons of sugar I put in my coffee in the morning, which I'm down to 1 cup of coffee a day now, is out. Once you take the carbs out after about a week, you don't want them anymore. I pretty much live on protein and vegetables. Right, no, and I've been doing high protein, high fiber. But I do still have toast with my eggs and bacon, like it's whole grain toast. You know, it's just the little pleasures in life. And I've been making, you know, lots of veggies for lunch and dinner. Got some monk fruit in the raw. It's the only sugar substitute I can handle. Huh. You know, I think we talked about this before. I think you remember you saying that before. I'm still eating all the bad shit. Right, yeah. I mean, eat what you want. I'm not here to tell anybody how to eat. Like, no. But I'm at this point in my personal adventure, you know, where I get to make the choice of do I want potato chips or do I want to be healthy? That's how I'm thinking of it. I'm not sacrificing anything. The prize I have available to me is everything I want. Right? Including weight loss. So, yay. And the ability to think clearly, the ability to be to not fucking have it's the ability to avoid all the stuff I don't want. Diabetes, heart disease, dementia. I have the heads up to, divert my course, and I'm all about it. I'm excited about it. When I think about it like that, I'm not like weeping over my potato chips. I don't know why I keep using that example. My real um Achilles heel is pastries. Boy, do I love me some pastries. I hate being sick, so I've made food more about fuel than fun. Yeah. Well, and see, that's to me, it always kind of was anyway. I'm not a foodie, which is like I say, I've had to reevaluate the way I cook. And I'm doing a whole lot more chopping of vegetables and a whole lot more stuff like that. Usually my choice is, do I want the potato chips or do I want those cookies? Right, yeah. And I'm not here to shame anybody. Oh, I didn't think, but see, I didn't think that I was that bad. I'm not that overweight. I didn't realize that it was that bad. And I feel like I could easily have gone on another decade doing exactly what I've been doing and ended up in a very bad way. I'm lucky too. I'm not a foodie either, but I know people who really struggle with it, and it must be terrible because you can't just quit eating. Yeah. Yeah. Similar. Yeah. My dad's side has a history of type 2, but I've been spared thus far. Well, that's good. Here's hoping. Knock on wood for you. Like, I don't know. To me, it feels like I've finally just had to take the signs that have been in my life all along. And I'm really looking forward to it warming up outside so I can go back and do some more walking. I'm not a foodie, but I like baking. Right, yeah, same. Like, that's where my real talents in the kitchen lies, in baking, so it's sort of sad. But, oh well. I do love fruit and vegetables too, so. Speaking of food, it is lunchtime. It's after 2:00. I gotta go so I can have lunch before I gotta go get little man, and my whole day becomes about homework and stuff. Um, and it's the kind of thing like where if I had known that all you need to do to make icing is mix milk and powdered sugar, I would have been such a fatter kid. What is it, baby?
It's 2:00. I was going to make myself a sandwich. Would you like a cheese quesadilla or something?
Yeah, actually, that sounds great. I was just trying to get off here because I make the best mojito cheesecake. Yeah, that ain't changing. What is it? Oh,
I love a mojito cheesecake.
Right. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds amazing. And I just got done telling y'all why I can't have any. Oh.
Have you seen the link? I'll get one.
I
can still drink.
Yeah, I quit drinking too, but not for any kind of health reasons, really. I just get hangovers like from hell. I make a Frangelico cheesecake that's to die for. Ooh. I don't even know what Frangelico is. It sounds great. I love cheesecake. Like, who doesn't love cheesecake? My mother-in-law. Excuse me. Anyways, thanks so much for hanging with me, you guys. This has been a really, really fun one. It's a hazelnut liqueur. Oh, that sounds great. I used to be able to kill as much booze as I wanted to, but now I'm a 2 drinks max lady. Being old is crazy. Yeah. Like, do you just get drunk faster, or do you end up with a wicked hangover? Because that's how I do. Well, there's no actual booze in it. No, yeah, it's mojito because it's lime mint and pretzel crust. Okay, cool. No, of course there's no actual booze in it. I can't have it either way. It doesn't matter. I get drunk faster, and the last time I hit 4 drinks, the next day I felt like I shouldn't have done that. The threat of a hangover was enough. They are terrible. They are terrible. And if I can live the rest of my life without ever having another one, I will be perfectly happy. But so yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, sincerely. And come back in a couple more weeks because we're looking at the big arc of history. We got big stuff coming through. It wasn't a pounding headache, can't get out of bed disaster, but it was definitely girl, don't try it experience. Nice. Human resources. Yeah. Not just that. I need to ask, a couple of friends of mine to see if I can't figure out how to put it up on the screen so we can all watch it together. That is such a fun idea. Thank you so much. And you guys all have a good week, okay? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It's such a habit of doing it every week. But that was not going to happen this time. I'll tell you that. I barely got this one done. Anyways, in my early 20s, I could take out a whole bottle of vodka at a party and wake up drunk but fine the next morning a lifetime ago. Bye. You know what, Mecca? Same. I used to be able to really drink the rum and the vodka and be and drive my ass home. Not anymore. That's okay, Joe. We'll see you next time, okay? Couple weeks. Come back. Watch this space. Because like I say, I'm hoping, we got... You watched my other video? Oh, which one? The platform one? I'll stick around a minute for that. Or the Meet the Heathen Left one. Either way, I'm down for feedback. Oh, you're leaving? I know, I said I gotta go. But you waited until the last minute to do this. I want to dance to the music that's in my ear, but nobody else can hear it, so I'll just look cuckoo. But I'm really hoping for a response on that. You watched my video? What did you think? Of course I want to know. I missed that thing where, the new one you just did. Oh, with the feminist memes. Okay. Did you like it? Was I, what? Are you entertained? Oh boy, a new RadFan podcast episode dropped as the stream ends. Oh. Cool. Who's that? You answered. You did. Thank you. What podcast? Yeah, which one? Red Fan podcast from Marxist POV. Okay, cool. Sounds great. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, same. All right. Bye, guys. See you in a couple weeks, okay? Have a good one. Bye.